Well, today might be the last day you see me in my superhero outfit. I was standing to the idea that because of the crazy winter we had, I was going to be bundled up for my videos until the sun came out. The sun has come out. It's May 14th. And, but I wanted to finish off this phase of my vlog making by consolidating my philosophy. I call myself world philosopher. The reason is I want to be philosophical in my vids. I want to get my ideas about how to change things to everybody's benefit, or at least to be more beneficial in practical life instead of just dreamsicle. I want things applied once they're decided upon. I did a vid once called If I Were President. Basically, you say something like that, it's like, yeah, if I could change the United States, I know exactly what I would do if I could just say, this is how the United States should be. A total reversal, something very close to the original constitutional idea, where government's got to be powerful and important, but they're there to serve the people, not to have other constituents make money off of special interest rich people that are screwing with the system. I want a constitution that protects all people from that kind of crime and corruption. We are totally in a position to where electricity, all the essentials, electricity, water, you name it, you know what I mean? If you're going to have a home, it should all be free. Utilities should be free. I believe in a country that should have essential things be in a communist type of frame of mind, to where that's just not something you have to worry about. But everything else is capitalist. You want to make hats, you want to make jackets, you want to make products. It's got to be a free market society. But when it comes to survival and what you need for when it gets cold, when you're hungry, it's no problem. There's food there. We live in the most awesome agrarian part of the world, and it's just ridiculous that people go hungry here. That's what I want. I don't want central banks. I don't want anything like that. I want the government to print the money, and everybody can have their money. And if the government needs money, they can just give it to themselves. They don't need to tax people. We're powerful. We're a powerful nation. The idea that some people pay 50% in taxes when you add everything up. When you buy a house, I want you to actually own the house with no residual taxes. You own the land that it's on. If you want to drill for water on that land, you can. Just, it's yours. Like for real. And that does not exist in this country. It does not. It's all a ruse, and it's all just an illusion. People are set up. The reason so many people lose motivation is because once they get into the system, they realize that you feel like a fool when you just keep going for it. The more successful you get, the more money somebody else gets. Just without question. And you have to give it to them. I do not want the government to be able to pound on your door with guns drawn, like in Boston, looking for one fugitive who is probably just a patsy. I don't want that to be possible at all. The Second Amendment, one of the most beautiful things about it is not the idea of bearing arms, but to form a militia against an unjust government. And that's there. Guess what? If you actually tried to do that, you'd be killed. You'd be targeted, and they'd just set you up with some little minute excuse that they probably lie about and just kill every one of you if you had a real militia. There are people buying guns now. They're buying guns and buying guns. And people are really a lot more woken up than I think the establishment realizes. But you never know to what degree their motivation is. Maybe they want people to be woken up now. Maybe they're antagonizing everybody. Maybe all the disinformation people that I go on and on about, whether it's Alex Jones or Mark Dice or Ventura or anything, the reason there's so many of them is because they want you informed now at this phase of it, because they want you to think of them as the enemy. The more you think of the government as the enemy, the more likely you are to do something that will instigate a reason for the declaration of martial law. And that it really seems like that's what they want. I do believe in the depopulation conspiracy. Maybe not depopulation, but getting rid of the fat on the camel's back, you know? All the disgusting people that have no style and no class, and they're just eating crap, and they're just ugly and gross. And I think the elite, arrogant people just want an excuse, big grand excuse to get rid of them and have a free workforce that they can control like they do in docile places like China. They're sick of us, basically, but we are sick of them, and we outnumber them, those of us that are not in that elite group. I just want us to form together a mode of togetherness to where we say, we want a new country. We don't want to do things your lying way. We want the actual principles of the Constitution as laid out by the Founding Fathers to be something we have access to. And our actual elected officials are not able to be bribed. We should be able to, they should be our slaves, you know, like we should have access to their bank accounts. Like if I wanted to pull up Ron Paul's, you know, statement on his bank because he's a public official, I should be able to do that just to check what he's spending his money on and who he's getting money from. And then when they leave office, then fine. You go back to being a private citizen. But when you're a public civil servant, you know, you just, no, you work for us. We should have access to what you're doing. So many of them, the only reason they get into politics is because of that bribe money. And it's big bribe money, and they all get it. And they're all positioned like pro wrestling, where just these people argue with these people just so it looks like there's a conflict, when in reality all they're doing is pacifying through confusion. And here we are on the border, really on the brink of having a martial law scenario in the United States. Everything Barack Obama's been doing is just communism in the form of Leninism from 100 years ago in Russia. And nobody wants that. I want the people to say no more of any of you criminals. There's only 100 of them. Oh, if I were president, I would get the army and the police to revolt against the ugly oligarchs and round them up and start all over, where nobody pays more than 20% of their income in taxes, and it's not broken up in all these different taxes. It's just one tax that goes to the government that says, this is my citizen's tax. And that's something everybody's got to pay. That's what I would do.